Cool. Hi, Guy. How are you? Welcome on board.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
And thank you very much, everyone, for having me.
Cool. Right. So, as you know, now you have your presentation. Try to stay in your 10 minutes. And this way you can get some extra question from Pablo, Claire, Scott, Chris, or me, maybe. All right. Okay. So you can pull up your slide, your time up.
1 second. Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes. Time's up and ready.
Perfect. So, hi, everyone. Thank you very much again for the time and listening to this amazing series. I think it's very important for the industry. So today we are focusing on productivity. And when we are speaking about productivity, 1 second. Okay, yes. So we are all time asking ourselves at the end of the day, like if the business intelligence challenge is like changing all the times, okay? And we see that each revenue source is often treated as a siloed business units. We can see it even much more from the three main factors below. So achieving optimal data quality, integrate data from the relevant sources, and track and measure performance. Those are the key challenges that the hospitality people are saying and suffering with. And if you're moving forward, so the productivity, it's not only about the revenue management side. It's like, of course, in every aspect. But if you're focusing on revenue managers, so they are using a lot of their time on things that are not related to yield management. Okay, so it means that they're not in a good use of their time. And I think Julian mentioned it before that about 50% of the time is being used to non-revenue management stuff. So we see this over here, and that's even pre-COVID, we saw it. And definitely right now, as we are talking about post-COVID or during COVID, that of course impacted much more because right now we have much more things to do and because there are much less employees. So there is an employment issue, which hopefully for all of us and all our fellows and friends, we wanted to go back to the pre-pandemic time. But that means that productivity is starting to be much more of a challenge than what we are expecting and thought about. Having said all of that and speaking about how much productivity is important, and I believe that all of us are aware of that, I want to share with you more about Fornova. So the ones that didn't listen or didn't hear my colleagues and friends that were part of this series before, so we at Fornova, we are a BI company based in Israel. We have offices all around the globe. We are supporting the big guys from both sides, so from big OTAs to the biggest hotel chains to regionals, and then of course for the independent. So in our today, we want to speak and be focused on our product that's called Fornova RI, which is revenue intelligence. It's a product that it's a revenue and operational analytics in a unified dashboard. So if we think about performance and we think about revenue intelligence in a way, the main thing when everyone wants to see is to have their KPI in front of them. And the KPI, it's important from the GM point of view, for the GM, for the owner, and the revenue management themselves. And on the daily basis, we know how much, like right now, the revenue managers are spending their time only to make those KPIs available for their colleagues. Now, each one of them will be able to go log in and see everything on demand right away. And compare, of course, all the data compared to any history, any benchmark that they want and need. Also, of course, budget and forecast as well. But it's not only about the history, it's also about what is happening ahead. So very easily to have the option to see 90 days ahead on a calendar view, my top 3 main KPIs. So how is my occupancy, ADR, and room revenues? And of course, we will have the events, as you can see, and therefore it's much easier also to understand why am I green, red, or yellow in each day and day. But when we are speaking and focusing on revenue managers, so it's not only about the KPI and the high-level data, it's also, and not less, it's about the specific ones of the performance. So being able to slice and dice everything, all those performance based on market level, source level, room revenues, make any metrics that they can and want, or customized report, because there's all the time the fine tunings between one hotel to another, especially if you're talking about chains as well. So as we are talking about chains and hotels, so we as a company and our DNA at Fornova, it's top down. So we all the time started with the tier ones. So in general, this is why in every one of our products, we have those way of thinking of headquarter, cluster, hotel level, user permission, who can see what. That's super important, especially that right now we want to have a one unified platform for everyone to log in. But maybe we want everyone to see only the KPI dashboard, but only specific people to be able to go and see the performance and really the data itself and everything. And when we are speaking about like multiple stakeholders or having a better understanding and analysis of our performance, so of course you need to understand your guests. So we are not a CRM company, definitely not, and there are like a huge and very good ones, and there's also one that's speaking later today. But we are taking the guests and the reservation and understanding them from the analytical point of view. So that means how is the demographic? Also being able to know right now, if we are talking about distribution and revenue management, if I had any kind of even an wholesalers leakage from the reservation perspective and the guest and the demographics, I can know and find out if my wholesaler, which was supposed to sell let only for people in a specific country, if they do it for another country as well. So we can go and find those issues and notify that very easily. But it's not only that, we can also right now give a report to our receptions and our operation if they really feel all the data. Because in the moment that we want to be to increase our productivity, we need to make sure that we are data driven, but we need to make sure that we have the right data. So we are also making sure that we are really feeling and asking all the data that we need in the reception. So of course, there's a lot of business benefits for the business itself, and of course for the individuals, the revenue managers. But it's not only, as we are thinking in the way of Fornova, it's not only about monitoring and analysis of the insights, it's about how to take it to the next level. And the next level, how each one of our components can enrich the other or help us to be much more, let's say, actionable insights. So let me take it into some examples. So if you heard Ujjwal speaking on Fornova DI product, and he was mentioning our test reservation. In order to do a test reservation, to make sure that your data right now, the reservation that you did, in order to find out any wholesalers leakage, then you need to go to the PMS data and to connect those things. So this is where we combine the RI, we combine the DI, works together in order to automate the test reservation part of it. Same as Martin mentioned, regarding to Fornova CI, competitive intelligence. You want to compare yourself to your comp set with as many data points as you can. So this is why if you enrich the CI product with on the books data and any additional data that you are taking, then you make those products much better. Same with our Fornova EC. So yes, you didn't hear about that one, but in general, we are helping hotels to create personalized and dynamic feed for marketing channels. So think right now that those hotel chains, instead of promoting a specific hotel and spending marketing budget, when the hotel is already over its performance, meaning they already achieved the targeted occupancy, or they have a huge output issue, we don't want to spend money. And we would like to shift this money to other hotels which are under less performing. So this is where our data from RI or even DI down to parity is enriching the EC. So what I'm trying to say that if you take an ecosystem at the end of the day and you work end by end, then it's greater than the sums of its part. I think, and I hope I was standing in your timelines. I know that you are very strict, Enzo.
Great.
Thank you very much.
That's fantastic. So now you have a much more, interactive conversation with Claire, Pablo, and Chris. So guys, who is going to make the first question? You are on mute, guys. All of you. Guy disappear. I don't know why.
I'm
guys
very happy to.
Let's wait, guys coming back. In the meantime, just to understand who is going to make this first question. Chris, you?
Yes, I'm very happy to, unless somebody else wants to go.
Guy, what's up?
Yes.
You are too shy to get the question, man.
No, I was too afraid. No, I'm joking. Instead of stop sharing, it was click the leave studio. Sorry about it.
Okay. All right. So first question.
So thank you very much, Guy, for this really interesting presentation. And it's great to see how this all ties in with your overall suite of products. What I'm curious about from a practical point of view, if I'm thinking about hotel now, we're having a lot of issues with silos and communication cross department. So where do you think are opportunities to use your product to break down these silos or help communication across departments? How should hotels use that with the different key players in the hotel, if that makes sense?
So I think in your question, there might be two different questions. One thing it's about communication, which is collaboration. So over there, this is not our game. I don't know if they need to use as probably some of us as a tech company are using Slack or any other communication tool and collaboration. So maybe what is the right collaboration tool inside the hotel? I don't know. We got to have right data, everyone see. That is important because this is a challenge. The challenge is that sometimes everyone can tell a story, but they need to make sure that they are looking at the same data, because then each one can make any story that they want, but as long as they are not looking at the same data, then it's not a real story.
A lot of
that makes sense.
Definitely. A lot of hotels, they're still used to PDF reports or spreadsheets or things like that. Now, you're offering a dynamic dashboard, which is far better than anything static. So there, I think, is a lot of opportunity when it comes to communication, that we do no longer look at the printout, we do no longer look at the PDF, but we actually can look at the data and everything that you're able to show with your solution. I think that's a really great opportunity there.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Next, Pablo, I think you have a question.
Yeah, question about the so there was one of the parts of your software is competitive. I'm not sure it refers to competitive in the sense of being competitive, or if it's comparing to the COM set. So does the software provide a service?
So our Fornova CI, it's competitive intelligence. So it's you compared to your comp set. Of course, the majority when you're thinking about you compared to your comp set, it's rate, it's regarding to visibility, it's regarding to those kind of things. But especially hotels, and the hotels, if you think that are not working, let's say, with an RMS tools, those kind of solutions are much more important for them and valuable. Therefore, if you can embed inside on the books data and other performance data right next to the comp set data, it can help them to make the right decision at the right time, and they don't need right now to switch between one product to another, to see right now how much do I have over here, what do I have, which data do I have over here, and then to try to think in their head or to go to a spreadsheet. So now they have everything in one place.
Good. Makes sense.
Chris, I know you got another one.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see, and I want to tie in a little bit with my question from before. What is the response that you generally get from hotels that transition from a static reporting kind of approach and now have the wealth of information that your solution or solutions offer? What is the feedback that you hear and the response there?
So of course, I think if I would take it across the board of the products, it's very different if you're speaking with the tier one, the regional ones, or independent. Okay, and as long you're going from top to bottom, so the ones that are in the top, of course, they're also dedicated people, and there are different people that are working on revenue and different that works on distribution. Then when you go to regional, maybe you still have, the two, or kind of sometimes you have 1.5 or 1. Then of course, when you go to independent, then you might have even the GM that do everything. So it's really different about like each one of those hotels and how they look on the things. So definitely, I think your feedback and your question, it's much more related to more to the independent than small chains, because those are the ones that definitely much more working with the spreadsheets. The ones that the chains, many of them are already started to move to, let's say, tools or any BI tools, and they understand data and analytics much more. So I think also the question for independents, definitely the value it's from day one directly. It's the value is directly for everyone, but of course it's much more. It's much more the impact when you go from zero, almost. Then the impact it's much other. For the others, it's a lot of fine tuning to make it like as the suite, as a complete. Then it create the incremental value. I would say much.
Yeah, I can definitely see that there is a huge difference between going from sports car to Formula One car, while the independent hotel is probably going from a bicycle to a Formula One car. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Guy.
Thank you, everyone.
And now is the time to introduce the next speaker. I'll see you the next. Thank you, Guy.